Alright, we're gonna do the pledge of allegiance, call the meeting order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call.
Okay, Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Hamel.
Here.
Mr. Parati.
Yep.
Mr. Facto.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. Okay, all board members have been provided with a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. A motion will be entertained to approve and accept the minutes of the regular meeting of December 27th, 2022. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Bruno, seconded.
Who said?
Roddy?
Okay, Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Yes.
Mr. Facto.
Yes.
Mr. Parati.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. And again, you've been provided with a copy of the meeting of the organizational meeting on 1/3 of 23. So can I get a motion to accept the minutes of that?
One thing about those minutes, and Mr. Facto brought it to my attention, I copy and
He was
pasted
here.
it, but everything was changed on everybody's and on the one that's going in the minute book.
Okay, so yeah, she showed him as absent when she copied and pasted it from last year.
Move.
Alright, so a motion by Mr. Facto, can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Bruno. Go ahead, roll call.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Yes.
Mr. Parati.
Yes.
Mr. Facto.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. Okay, I do have one addressee tonight. He's promised to keep it a little bit shorter than he did last work session. Although I think we made some pretty good headway since the last work session. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Garcelle.
Hello, everyone. Tonight I don't have, of course, the projector up, and we won't do all the complex stuff. But I do want to try this right now. So from the website, anyone can visit the website on their phone, and you know, Kevin's number is right at the top of it, and you can just click, and I can start calling, which is going through right now.
Yeah, you were the first one to call me.
So he silenced it. He's good for the meetings. But on there, the directory of all council, the supervisor, Mike for highway, you're right in the front page as well. Those are all mobile dialable. So if someone has a cell phone, they click the number, it comes up and it says, hey, dial the phone, and they can make a phone call. So it makes it very efficient. Whether if you're on a computer, if someone clicks your email, or on your cell phone, if you click your email, it'll pull up the person's email and they can start writing you a message. So made it very efficient to contact the town and all of the dough. It's fully functional. The new site is up. Was made aware of a brief issue where there was a 404. After that, since then, that's been resolved. There is no more. There's no more pages that are not able to be displayed. Now, as far as content, some of those pages are looking very sparse. Tomorrow, we have scheduled a meeting here where all the departments and as many staff that can attend should try to attend, and that's when we're going to start populating the data that's missing. So when you go to the departments page, there's not much information. But we'll get hours there. We're going to be getting individual photos on backgrounds. We're going to be putting up any pertinent forms for each department, putting up any kind of information, like Kevin wants to have a supervisor article section where he can write comments about stuff going on in the town. That's going to be available for his department because he wants it, and so we'll put it on just his department page. If anyone else wants to do something like that, they'll be able to do that as well. So while there's a lot of sparsely populated pages, they're all there, and we're going to start populating as of tomorrow. The Facebook page is live. It's getting very active. The meetings, the agendas are being posted. The YouTube videos are being posted. Any information that I'm told to post can be posted. So that's going well. The YouTube channel, that's up. It's been up, but there was only one test video. Now the regular meetings from last year, the work sessions, and any special or budgetary meetings have been added. There's only a very few exceptions because something happened with the recording and there was just audio, or there was a still video and it didn't work properly. But very, very few exceptions to that. So that's what's going on there. I received the calendar for the 2023 at the last work session. I've been working at populating that into the database. It's not done yet, but we will get those out there for the events calendar. Issues still there. We still need to add the information and the documents forthcoming from the meeting tomorrow. So that is still a big thing that has to be done as soon as possible. Still need to populate the public records. So documents are there. They've been converted to PDF. It's the question of how to organize that. In testing, ran into a slight concern or consideration, is that with agendas, with meeting minutes, and with that being for like 4 different offices, there's like 100, 200 links. It looked very poor. And so I'm going to be organizing it differently where when people click, it drops down just the section that the title, like
Zoning board or
minutes.
planning board. Or
Exactly, and it
town
only
board.
lists that section,
I agree.
so it's not a huge long page. So still in the works, do have the content, it is digitized, looking good there. There is still an issue with some headers. The headers have to do with anything that reaches out to the database. It's a timing issue. So it's something that I am aware of. It happens on the articles, anything to do with articles or departments. The little pretty town header doesn't show up. That is something that I am aware of and I am fixing, and that should be
'Cause when I
fixed.
clicked on articles today, it brought me back to the homepage.
Okay,
That's what came up under articles.
okay, well, perfect. So there is a known issue there. Working on that, and down here in the project status report, I explained that the next iteration of fixes, structural differences, will happen this Friday night after hours, and will be finished before Monday morning business hours. So the plan is to fix that after it's fully tested on our development server, as well as start populating the photos, the department page information. Again, not wanting to do it during business hours, don't want to impact things. So things that we are working on actively, that we have everything we need. Sam has given me everything I need for the recreation department, and I have been working on that. So his will be the first department page is fully up. With the next iteration of the site, that's going up, we'll have the registration for the sports and events. So that'll be, his page will be up. They can go to recreation and click on registration and be able to register their children for the sports. And he provided me everything till the end of the year, so they can have all the sports registrations throughout the year, even to bowling next year. So that's good there. I'm going to make an effort to see about getting digital. I talked to Kevin briefly with you about getting digital versions of all the forms. I have printed copies of like permits and things like that, but I want to get the digital copies if they're available. That way I can convert them to an electronically fillable form. They can be printed, signed, or whatever happens, brought to the town, money paid, whatever. If it's a photocopy, it's just an image. That's a lot more complex. It's not easily doable. So if I can get digital copies, that'll make that process quicker. So I'll be looking for that. The plan for this next week is to finish the first iteration of the department pages. Everyone will be able to see those. If there's any concerns, any problems, we'll work on it, right? Like this is going to be the first iteration. If we don't like how it looks, if we don't like the information, someone changes their mind about what they want on there, we'll do that. And then plan is to update the calendar with the remaining events. Talked about the next iteration. and got approval to do the transfer of the domain from Homestead at the ending of that contract, because that's the old company for the old site, and that was bought in for like a 3-year term at one time, and that's coming to an end. So instead of paying 600 and something, it'll be a $25 fee a year. So we're going to transfer that. And that's it. That's all the activity. And
So
what I'll do
the only
is,
thing I need you to do is put my loan or my grant CDBG papers up there still.
They are.
As soon as you can. 'Cause I couldn't find them under, unless that was part of the stuff that you just updated before the meeting.
yes, it was. So the ADA compliance, ADA notice, fair
Section
housing
3
plan,
coordinator,
and ADA grievance procedures.
Fair housing house or all those. You got
Yep.
those all up there now.
They are up there on the page now. Yes.
What is that under? Is it under documents?
Nope, that's right underneath resources, CDBG grant. I'm hoping to have a grants page and then subcategories, all the different grants and stuff, but right now that's the only one we have, so that's where it's at.
Oh, I got more, I'll give you.
Perfection.
But that was the one that needed to be up.
And it is.
Kevin.
Any
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, one quick question, is the emails case sensitive?
No. Emails are not case sensitive, and tomorrow would be a great time to go over all those questions about the emails. We can hook them up to people's phones if that's what so chosen. And remember, departments, people on the website, the department will be listed like supervisor. And what happens is when people email supervisor, it goes to kevin.randall@schuylerfallsny.com. When Kevin moves on to his next opportunities, then whoever's the next supervisor, the supervisor department email will be forwarded to that person. We will forever have archives of Kevin, and we can pull them up. Clerk will be able to get those for FOIL request or any kind of record keeping. But the other supervisor doesn't presume Kevin's identity from his personal email. And that's like best practice. So that's how that works. So codes forwards to you, and you have your email, and then if you move on someday, on someone else's individual email will have codes forwarded to it. So any questions, concerns?
Just Mike, he's gonna do the photos tomorrow again. I don't know if
I'm gonna
we're,
do my best.
try to stop down. Otherwise, you still have his photo from before. And you still have the truck photo. for
I have the
garage.
truck photo. I didn't take a photo of him before.
Alright. So.
He wasn't
if not,
smiling
I'll
that
take
day.
one on my phone for you, Lee.
Yeah,
Here,
there you go.
We'll send it to you tomorrow.
Is there any way that we could have, like, under resources or something, different, like, telephone numbers for, like, if somebody wants to get the Clinton County landfill, instead of calling us, they could look on it and
Yeah.
the
Other county
treasurer's
resources or
office, the
something
real
we could
property
do it as.
office, things like that.
So the idea that I have, and any input like that is very appreciative. I'm going to do something, and we'll see how we like it. So under resources, I want the resources tab, that menu column, to be things that are links. So in other words, things that are not actual town documents or town things. So that's why JCEO is listed underneath there.
That brings
And-
you right to the website. I clicked on it. It's pretty
Right, yeah. So
Okay.
that's I think that's gonna be exactly what we want, where we click that and we can list all the local community, like Clinton County Gov site, stuff like that. That the resources menu page will be for linked items. Underneath there, just before came to the meeting, I put up media, and that's where the links to YouTube are. Because we're not housing, because it takes so much space, we're not housing those videos. We post it up to the public on YouTube and then just provide a link. So that's what I want to put together by next work session. If I'm able to get on the agenda again, I'll have that available, and if we like it, good. If you have a list of what you want to put on there, provide it to me. If you have something for tomorrow, and then anytime you can just text me or add links.
I have a
couple of questions. Do you anticipate being able to put up forms, like if somebody wants to apply for a handicap hand tag or a dog license or a FOIL request, will you be able to put those forms up where they can at least download them?
That's a good question. So that's part of what am asking for, like what forms we have available in digital format right now. If I can possess those and just convert them to a fillable PDF, then users can fill them out, like type in all the information, print, and then deliver the form or sign, make payment.
And if the forms are out there in paper form, would they be able to be converted fairly easily?
That's a longer process. So we can put up even the copy forms. Like there's no limit that we can put up the forms.
But they're not editable. They're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I have to go through the and
You
I
have to retype
can
them all in Word.
exactly, and then convert them that way. So if I don't have to do that, I would love not to. But if that's the path,
Yeah.
if I have approval, we will do that.
I'll try to
And,
get you the forms by digital, but the handicap and dog licenses, like he's talking about, they can print the forms, but they need to show different identifications to get the dog license
actual-
and the handicap.
And we're not set up to pay online.
No.
Yeah,
And I'm not really.
I'm not saying to get it online, I'm just saying so that they can bring it down with them rather than pick it up here, fill it out.
100%.
In other words, it'll be. And would you say it was a technological issue or something else that kept all this from being done in, say, July or August or September?
It as discussed at the work session, our company, myself personally, looking at it as just a lot of poor communication. And I will take tons of that blame and fall on that sword as well. Just not in alignment. I didn't want to push government. I like that doesn't get things done as well either, like by upsetting or irritating people. And they didn't want to push Kevin. I don't think you wanted to really push me necessarily. So we're underneath agreement. It was said at I believe the last work session, like we're not holding back. We just communicate straightforward now, and we're gonna go at it. So it's worked. No one's not answered my call. I have not answered anybody's call. Documentation's flowing pretty quickly. I've been getting good updates. I've been getting good feedback. If that continues, I'm all smiles. Like I'm happy. I think that the town and the people and the residents will benefit greatly.
So this could have been solved on a human level a lot quicker with earlier communication.
so-
I think we should go forward and see.
Yeah, he's here for the board, and I don't mind you asking a couple questions, but we do public forum at the end.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. Or you can always
No,
write.
I didn't know whether he's gonna be.
No, you can always write whatever your concerns are, and I'll get it for you, and then I'll get with him and get back to you.
So Patrick, the minutes going back to the 1st of January of 22 are, I mean, that's not a huge priority, but it's
Yeah.
gonna be up.
Yes, I have the documents, and I believe we said we're going to go back 2 years, so I think we're going to do
Yep.
21
Oh,
as well.
2 years, okay.
And I don't have those, so I'll work with you when I'm here tomorrow to just line up a time to get those.
Okay.
But I do have all
could
the
just
22.
do them to you, right? You
Yes.
said?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can just paperclip
I
them
can
on
just, yeah, that's what I'll do. I
Okay.
think it'll be easier.
Then they'll be digital,
cleaner.
and you can just
Go
open
for
it
it.
up.
Pop them up. Yes, so it's going to be 2 years, and keep on going for this year. And, yeah.
Great.
Is this planning or ZBA on here too, or just this?
It can be, yeah. It's up to, there's some information he's gonna have to get from those two boards, cause I don't provide anything for the ZBA or planning.
And I
give
don't-
him-
yeah,
I
I've
can
never
give
done
them the,
that.
I can give them the names and all that stuff, but I'd much rather have them involved in their own process, because they're independent boards from us.
What I do have is the agendas.
Yep. That have been sending.
Yeah, like April of last year or May of last year. But I don't have any of
And
them.
they're getting better at doing that, cause I never used to get the agenda, so they used to put them in the paper and legal ads, and that's the way it always went, but lately I have been getting them, so I forward them to you. to
Yes.
Scan them and send them, and you put them on there, so that works.
Okay.
And the board, anybody else got any more questions? Thanks, I appreciate it. And, we got Mr. Fox here, if I legislator, you got anything that you wanna say, or you just here sitting
I'm
in?
just here mostly as a resident. The county's going, everything's going smooth at the county. If
Okay.
anybody has any questions after the meeting, they can catch me. So I really have nothing. We just got our committee assignments for this year and we're starting our committee meetings. Our first Board of Health meeting was last night, so things are moving along. And the major project with the town as far as the water line, that's going forward, so everything's.
Yeah, the only thing I gotta get with Mike Zerlo on is that final MOU, so we can get that signed and then I can move forward, cause that's affecting that other project too, so.
Yep,
So yeah, sounds good, I'll get with you on that.
okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Alright, that brings us to monthly reports. Everybody has got a copy of the monthly reports, I take it? I know I did. I'll entertain a motion to file those.
Motion.
Alright, so that's double. So Mike beat you out by half a second.
I'll
So
second.
Mr. Parati, and you can second it.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Yes.
Mr. Parati,
Yes.
Mr. Facto,
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. Okay, it brings us to receipts. Tax collector. $844,932.55. Town clerk, $1,156. Macy Lane Water, $1,928.41.
$26.
I do that at least once a meeting, so he can do
Good
that.
that he catches you.
Thank you very much. As corrected, $1,926.41. Morrisonville Water, $19,082. Woods Mills Water, $6,109.07. Looks like the justices, Justice Barber, $984.50. Justice Van Ortweg, $2,301. Cash receipts, $126,567.90. That's from Casella Waste for host fees for the fourth quarter. $907.99 from the Clinton County Treasurer. That's a stumpage tax. Looks like that is it for those. So can I get? There was an additional monies that were collected in revenues. So I'm not sure if that's what they call that, but
The landfill though?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if I can get a motion,
Motion.
Mr. Ferrari,
Second.
we'll say Reg beat you out by half a second. Roll call?
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Ready. Minutes of the planning board dated 12/20 as 12/6 of 22. And we don't have anything for the zoning board, so can I get a motion to file?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bruno,
Second.
Mr. Hamel,
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
yes. Didn't write that fast. Alright. Department reports, Councilman?
Sure. I had a meeting with Kevin earlier today and we discussed a little bit about the Morrisonville Water District and the idea of going from the EDUs to the taxation ad valorem rates. And I believe we're gonna possibly be voting on that at the next meeting. And all I've gotta say about it, it appears it's gonna be sort of a divisive issue where I think it's gonna end up half of the people are gonna want that and the other half aren't gonna want it. And what I'm trying to say, Kevin, I'd like to see a meeting set up, an informational meeting for the people, for the, 303 people in the district, just to try to receive their input into this. That's just an idea I have, and I just wanted to throw it out
Yeah.
and see if it's possible or not to do.
I don't know how you get them all the information in a meeting like this, especially if you had all 303 of them together.
Sure.
Maybe, and I can't post I don't wanna post their taxation rate on the town website. But in order to get their ad valorem, you see what I'm saying?
Sure,
It goes
sure.
off their assessed value. The EDU is just split evenly
Sure,
among the
sure.
303 users, depending on, I shouldn't say that, evenly if it's one EDU. School will be 30 EDUs, fire station will be 4 EDUs, anybody that has an apartment house that's 3 would be 3 EDUs, and so on. But the average, I should say the even split rate would be anybody that's 1 EDU. So those, everybody's paying pretty much the same. I don't know if that would be a big deal because you're not showing what their assessed value. Some people are kind of freaky about showing what their assessments are and stuff like that. So I don't know if we can, I can talk to Ron and maybe talk to Pat and see if we can get some kind of program up on maybe our town website saying, hey, I don't know, like I said, it's gonna be really intensive. If I got 303 people calling me and saying, okay, this is my ad valorem rate, alright, or excuse me, what is my ad valorem rate, and then what is my EDU rate, I don't know how you get them all done. I don't know if anybody, everybody would participate in that, but
Well-
it will be a board decision as to what direction to go. And the other thing that we gotta watch is advocating our duty to the residents. That's what they put us in charge for. And when you start advocating some of your decisions to them, you're kinda, you can get in trouble there. But it's something I can look out. Mr. Vito, I agree with you 100%. You're gonna have some people that are gonna say, I definitely want it by EDU because that's a cheaper rate for me. And some people are gonna say, ad valorem would be the cheaper for me. And basically, where it meets in the middle, is somewhere about 100, don't quote me, but about 116,000. If your assessed value is around 116,000, then the EDU equals approximately what the ad valorem rate would be. Naturally, if you got a home that's only assessed at 67,000, your EDU would be higher than what your ad valorem rate would be. On the other hand, like I said, if you're assessed at 500 and something thousand, then you're gonna be 2, maybe 3 times higher than what the EDU rate would be. So it's, I agree with you, it's gonna be a little sketchy. We're gonna have to really get some input, and I'll see if I can figure out a way to
Maybe we
send
could,
it out. I mean, the only other way we could do it, Reggie, if we send out letters to everyone and have them return envelopes. And you're looking at, well, it's not an unbelievable amount of cost,
$150.
but
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of time and a lot of
Yeah.
labor down here. So if you're willing to do them, and then somehow I gotta make sure that we don't have any issues with who's ever tallying them up, seeing their assessment. You know what I'm saying, and everything else. Because you know what I'm saying. That's when we had Liz Tedford do it. She did it. She assigned everybody a number, so you never knew who that name was. All you got was she knew because she was the sole proprietor of the income study.
Yeah.
But it's a pain when you get into that because some people don't want to know. Don't want people to know what they're.
I mean, we could draw up samples if
No.
your home is valued at 100,000.
Yeah.
Here's your ad valorem.
Yeah, and that
And
might
here's
be
your
with,
EDU.
I agree with you, Red. That might be
See-
the way to do it. Say between this assessed value and this assessed value, it's not going to be exact, but it'll be within maybe $30 of this. You know what I mean? And we can do the same thing. You've seen the EDUs. The EDUs were pretty solid, unless they were a vacant lot. Then it's only a half EDU. Or like I said, if they're multi-dwelling,
Yeah.
or the school or fire station, those are get charged more. And that's what helps reduce the amount of charge to the actual rest of the users in the district, the water district, is that your big users of water pay more for it, you know what I mean? By EDU.
It's pretty hard to ask this board to vote yes or no when the people really have no indication.
But that's
What's
the
going
way,
on?
that's the way it's done throughout the
Yeah.
whole New York State and other states. Like I said,
Yeah.
it falls up to the board to decide which way that
Sure.
we wanna move forward. It's just like, we use ad valorem right now. To my knowledge, there was never any water district vote saying we would go on
That was
ad
years ago.
valorem rate versus
I did,
EDU, but,
as a water clerk, and I was gonna wait for water,
mhm.
at 38 years for a bond, I think the people should have a say in what it is. That's 38 years you're
Mhm.
committing them.
Right, and the
I'm not gonna
process.
be here, so I don't care. but-
Well, you'll be here for some
I'll
of
be here
them,
for
right?
some of it.
She leaving there or something?
Not the next
What do you want? No.
Going to like the South
But I mean,
Carolina?
38 years is a lot of, you know, and until you get a final
No, and-
number, you don't know what your EDUs are. And another thing is the assessments are public. Anybody can come in and look at an assessment in a book. It's different than income.
Mhm.
So they.
Yeah, it is different, but I'm just saying, some people don't like it when, you know, you publicize their assessments right there. It's different from somebody going to look
Yeah,
it
but
up.
Macy Lane, when LaBerge came, they had their name, their
Mhm.
assessment, and what it was gonna cost them.
And
And
we
they
got-
had 40, almost 50 users.
And we got that, I showed you the other day, so, you know, I showed you yours. So like I said, it's something that I can try to figure out on how to work that out.
So is
Like I
there-
said, the most confidential way would be just to send them letters, but it'd be a lot of, it took us 3
Yeah.
days to get all the letters out and everything back last time. But, it's nothing that we gotta decide on tonight, put it that way. We are gonna have to decide on it, but.
So you'll push the vote back from next month,
Well,
would you think, or?
we may not even be ready to vote
Okay,
on what
okay.
way we're doing that next month. Like I said,
Okay.
you asked me today if we'd be able to move forward with that in February. I said, yeah, my hope is always to keep up with this and keep the ball moving forward,
Okay,
not going
okay.
backwards. But, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else for council? Okay. All right, highway, we got Mikey.
Hey, buddy. Well, hey, we've been, same thing as been doing all winter. You know, plowing, starting a lot of early mornings. Sometimes right up until dark again. And first thing the next morning. We're just keeping ahead of all the equipment. And trying to keep it going. Trying to keep everybody on the road. You know, and I'm still looking for, you know, some newer equipment, and I believe I got a new man coming, so.
When did you decide on your loader?
According to
Yeah, that's on the agenda tonight.
Yeah,
He gave me the final. To answer your question, there was no difference because it was contracted.
Yeah, Mike
rate.
called me
yeah.
right after he found out, thank you.
That's what I figured. Under state contract, they wouldn't care whether you trade something in or not, because usually state rate is state rate.
And we tried.
Yeah, it don't hurt to try.
No, it doesn't, and I'm not bashful, I'll call.
Yeah, you did a good job. Matter of fact, I appreciate the cleaner copy that you
Yeah,
dropped
I,
off. So I got that for these guys to look at in case they want to refresh their recollection before we get that resolution. We do have a resolution to hire and take care of the other salary tonight. So
Mhm.
Do you have the guy lined up, the same guy
Yes.
we talked about last meeting? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Um,
hoping to give him a call tonight.
yeah, and I had
Soon as
Mary
that way.
check to make sure because the price was good till the 31st, and I didn't want to lose that. The
No.
price on that loader.
Yes,
So she checked today to see whether or not we had to do a voucher tonight for that. And he said no, as long as the resolution is passed tonight, he'll get with you, he'll then do a PO order, and then we can do the check for that next month or whenever. So it takes about 3-6 weeks at the
Right.
earliest before you get
Right.
that piece of equipment.
and I checked with the availability, he believes it, strong, it could be April to get it. So that's pretty good.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Water,
I
other
said
than
my piece.
there. Alright, Mr. Codes, you got anything for us other than the, kinda learn, get your feet wet and,
now.
I know he's got a lot going on. I've been working with him for a couple weeks now, and among his training also that he's trying to do at the same time, so I think he's doing a good job so far. I'm gonna go back to the town clerk, or you good? Assessor, I do have one thing on that. I'll bring that up during my communication time. Planning board, I've got nothing. Dog control gave me nothing, and Mr. Town Attorney, you got anything you got?
Not today, no.
No gripes, no moans, no bitches?
No.
Alright, and Barb gave us her report. She's usually here, but she was a little under the weather today. That brings me to me. Alright, so we'll be holding off on hiring a new website manager, as you might have guessed. We're looking to ensure that the town website is functional and existing issues are corrected. After a meeting and a long discussion with Mr. Pat Garso after the work session on January 17th, it was decided to give North Star Computer Web Development until the end of February 2023 to fix and make major improvements to our current town website. This firm will be reevaluated at that time for future retainment. So again, that's what I got out of the consensus the other night at the work session, so I put it in there on the record. I will say, I think more has gotten done in the last three weeks than I have seen over the last entire year. We had that conversation too, so as long as we're progressing forward, I'm gonna hope that that trend continues and that the website gets better and better, but we'll revisit that in February and see how the board feels that he's doing.
If we decide in February that we don't think he's doing the job we want him to do, is there a penalty we're gonna have to pay to get rid of him?
No, because his contract actually ends in February. I think I signed that in February 9th or something like that?
Yeah.
You got a good memory. Anyway, that'll expire in February. He's been willing to stay on and retain our services without the host fee, which is kind of his fee, until February, because he's trying to, I guess, make up for what didn't happen earlier.
Make up the last time.
He seems to be very receptive now, and tomorrow, Wednesday, we have that big meeting going on with all the department heads, so we get the more content that we need on that website, and I had planned at least 5 of those over the last year with him to do that, and it just never happened. So as long as he shows up tomorrow and keeps going, I'm good with him, you know. But if it looks like he's flipping down that slope again and things are taking too long.
Now, this other company that we were dealing with,
Yep.
are we eliminating them? Are we cutting
Nope.
them back? Are we?
As far as the we had 3 different firms that we looked at. We got estimates from 2 of them. They gave me actual. Those are the ones that I gave to all the board members at the time. There was one in particular, and I guess we don't need to say the name of it right now, but there was one in particular that everybody seemed to like out of those estimates, and like the website. So they're still in my website folder, and we haven't exited the contract yet until the 9th of this month. And then, like I told him, we told him we'd give him to the end of February to see what he does with the website at our last work session. So, in March, say we give him to the end of February, because I'm not going to hire him in February if we give him to the end of February. If the website continues to look good, you can do it on a month by month, or we can sign a year contract with him, and then maybe we can put something in there this way where if we feel that That's something I'd have to look at the contract language, but I think if we feel he wasn't upholding his end, that we can terminate the contract without any, penalties.
Okay.
And maybe something we can put in the next contract. But if he keeps going the way he is right now, I'm pretty satisfied with what he's doing, I just wish it would've happened sooner. You know?
Yeah,
Thank
now,
you.
along the same lines, Vern, with the cybersecurity company that we had hired, are we sort of done with them right at this point?
Well, no, we pay a monthly
They're still,
charge to them.
they're still analyzing and,
Yep, well,
Pretty
they're
much.
still looking at a few things, and to be God's honest with everybody, I've heard two different views from the website manager and our security firm on a couple issues. So what I wanna do is I wanna get them in a room together with me, so that they can air out, cause that's one of the things I told Pat, I said, you know, leaning towards the security company, they're supposed to know what they're doing
Sure.
for certain things. And you're saying you don't like the way they wanna do certain things. In a couple instances, he said it goes against the industry standards, you know what I mean? So what I wanna do is get those two together in a room in my office and, have them work out, if they can, their differences. That was one of the things that I told them both, that we're here to get the best website we can for the residents of the town and for the officials here that have to use it. So, you know, if they're butting heads rather than working together, then we're the ones in the end that are gonna pay for that, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, of course.
So I said, if it looks like you guys can't work together, I wanna know that too. If you got irreconcilable differences and you don't think that you can work together, that's something this board needs to know so that we're not, you know, the end user of something that they're not getting along with and not being able to perform for. So that's the next step, is getting them both in a room, and then what I'd like to do is, after that, get them both to a work session so that the whole board can then
that would be great.
privy to everything that's going on, but I think they're gonna work better together if I'm just sitting on the backside of the room and listening to what each is saying, than to have it done in front of a whole board, and then we can bring back what our issues are,
Okay.
their issues are, to the full board after at a work session, not at a meeting, if that
Okay,
makes sense.
understood.
Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Alright, yesterday, January 2023, I received the final approval of request for release of funds from, New York State CDBG project 1047 HR 306-22. Get that letter. Basically, I'll just read the short version of it, not the long. Approval of requested release of funds, New York State CDBG project. I won't say the whole letter and thing again, but the town of Schuyler Falls request for release of funds in certification has been approved as of February 3rd, 2023. This approval authorizes the town of Schuyler Falls to request disbursements of its New York State Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, in accordance with the program schedule on file with the Office of Community Renewal, or ORC. The town of Schuyler Falls is advised that the project completion date is November 9th of 2024, and that this is the last date that costs can be incurred on this project. Please refer to the ORC Grant Administration Manual for forms required to request and disbursement of funds, which may be downloaded from the ORC website under Forms and Documents. If you have any questions, concerns, blah, 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 you know, get a hold of him. It's Charles. I deal with him all the time, so I know him pretty well. Basically, that means the CDBG grant for Friends of the North Country. God, I had a mind blank there for a minute. Where they'll be administering, it looks like 5 different homes, needed repairs, is all set for drafts. The one thing I will talk to them about, and that I don't want to run into, is that they ask for a draft of money, and then it's at the 1st of January, and we don't have our meeting till tonight, which is the 24th, and then it stayed in our accounts for more than a 5-day period, and that's big with them. One of the last CDBG grants, that was one of the dings that they gave me on the end audit, is that we held the money in our account at the town, longer than that 5 days. It can't be in an interest-bearing account, it's gotta be in a non-interest-bearing account. So that's something that I wanna make sure I work with Friends of the North Country on, to make sure they don't draw. Ask for a draw on funds to pay a contractor before, it's 5 days before our meeting, or we pre-approve it at the previous meeting so that the mayor can write the voucher and send the check and it's only in our account for less than 5 days. And that was pretty much what I told them under the corrective action on the last, end audit for the last CDBG grant, is that's what we would do. We would either coordinate so that we don't have it in the account for the more than 5 days, or we would ask for, Friends of the North Country let us know ahead of time so that we can pass with our regular vouchers, that can be paid as soon as that bill hits. All right.
Do you need a resolution to refer to that?
For
So to make it audit only?
no, because I don't think so. Not unless it comes to the fact where they feel that, say the ball gets dropped and all of a sudden the contractor that worked on a roof at somebody's house wants to get paid by such and such a date, and our meeting's still more than 5 days out. That's where we're gonna run into issues, you know what I'm saying? So they have to make sure, and the contractors know that going into these CDBG programs, that the money from the feds to the town, they're really strict about. They don't want you making interest on it, and they don't want it but they want it in our account for more than 5 days. So, that's something that I'm gonna talk with, Ms. Narducci about, Friends of the North Country. And like I said, if they know, and that's their communication to us, if they know that, a certain bill from a contractor is gonna complete a project, say, 3 weeks before we have our next meeting, then they need to let us know that meeting before so that we can approve it the meeting before. That we might have to do by resolution. Alright? I set up a meeting with Melena Tamer from the Clinton County Health Department. She has informed me of a potential grant funding in 2023 to continue our Heart Healthy activities in the town of Scholar Falls. If you remember, last year's grant provided the town with monies to install crosswalks, park benches, bike racks, share the road signs, road paint, and road stencils on multiple roads in the town. And they also that were used for bike and pedestrian walking. She also helped us to obtain a grant for a free bike fix-it station on the Greenway Trail. It's the Saranac Greenway Trail. Multi towns are in that, town of Plattsburgh, us. They want it to go all the way to Saranac when it's all done. So as part of that, she obtained a grant and asked if we would be a partner with them for the free bike fix-it station. So that's basically going to go down by the hydro dam on the military turnpike, between the two bridges, and we'll install that. And if somebody needs to fix a tire or tighten a brake or whatever on that path, or the bike path, they'll use that fix-it station for their bike. So again, that she ended up getting that money for us too. So basically, we're looking at grants here from $2,500 to $30,000 to $50,000, and the middle ground's about $11,500, was where I was kind of shooting for that flagship grant. Our last grants that I just talked about, other than the bike fix-it station, which was a whole different grant, we ended up with a little over $8,000 of grant money to get all that stuff, and then Mike and I and the highway guy went out and did a ton of that work. Sam did the bike racks out here. Those red bike racks were part of that. The bench, they were the composite benches. They weren't the wooden ones. They were the nice heavy-duty composite. I won't call it Trex, but something like that material that will last for years and years and years. So I'm going to keep going after these grants and trying to get the money to again improve the lives of the residents of the town. But these are all have to fall into heart healthy activities. So let you know as we move forward with that. I completed the update of government offices in the New York State Electric and Gas and RG&E service areas web portal. This is an annual update, so they have an up-to-date contact and info of all town officials in an emergency. So that's been completed. They will send me that at the end of January, so that's all done and taken care of and updated. New York State Department of Taxation has sent me an update to the law allowing a tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. We have 3 years to transition to the newly authorized statewide exemption. This would give these workers up to a 10% exemption of their property tax. So what I'll do is I'll make a copy of basically this sheet right here for you guys so that you can take a look at it. And when I first looked at this, I was under the understanding that we could adopt it. We couldn't adopt it, or didn't have to adopt it. But now, as I reread this today before I got ready for this, it does look like they're saying that we got to do something within 3 years. You don't have to give a full 10%, but you can give up to 10%. Basically, what they're trying to do is help out with retention and new members to the volunteer fire department and ambulance. It's no secret nationwide, much less in New York State, that these departments are losing members, and it's harder to retain the members once they are. A little bit different than even when I had young kids at home. My wife could stay home if she wanted, you know. Now it takes 2 people to make an income a lot of times at home, so they don't have the time to volunteer. So they're looking for ways to help spur volunteerism back, because I'll tell you right now, if we go to paid departments, instead of a $500,000 or $600,000 department bill for a fire department, you're going to be looking at millions of dollars when you add in workman's comp and all the FICA and everything else, and the insurance and all that stuff. So volunteers make up about 89 to 90% of all the fire service. It leaves that remaining 10% that we're actually paid. So they're looking for ways at the state and federal level, but at least they're looking at ways at the state level to address that and try to get people to volunteer and stay in once they're there. So that's something that we're going to have to work on. Because, like I said, they give us 3 years for a transition period. We got three fire departments, so in the town. I don't think it'll be a ton of people. You got Morrisville EMS, Cateville EMS. So that's probably about it for people that would fall under that. But we'll have to look at it and see what we want to do for an exemption for them. And like I said, I'll get you guys all copies of that.
How would that work with the people in Cateville's part, Saranac Town is part Morrisonville, West Island Falls and South Plattsburgh?
Each municipality is responsible for the residents in their town that pay property tax in their town. So if they can prove that they're a volunteer in one of these EMS or fire departments, and then show you that they are, we're gonna have that record, that they're on our assessed tax rolls, then they would get whatever exemption we come up with, up to 10%. That's another issue, but they're looking at a whole bunch of other things. Went to the fire advisory board meeting the other night, and they're actually looking at paying fire department members who show up on a call, and paying for drivers to try to get them. It wasn't a ton of money. I think they suggested they're throwing out $25. That'll be coming up in your state legislator to vote on. That'll be coming up at the state level, New York state level. There'll be a bill introduced to do that, because, like I said, they're hurting on volunteers, and they know the state isn't dumb either. They know what the alternative is, and that's all paid departments, and you're not even close to paying for 10% of a paid department as a volunteer department. So You can ask the city. The city, that's their biggest two fights on their budget is the police and the fire. But
Is that just volunteers or paid members too?
now, this didn't actually say volunteer. Okay, as far if you're asking me this one right here, yeah. Well, let me see. Tax exemption is to volunteer fire departments and ambulance workers must transition to. That have to look at because it kind of double talks because it says if you're an ambulance or in an ambulance fire department, I know that this was more geared towards to answer your question, volunteers, because if you're a paid department personnel, you're getting compensated pretty good with your other stuff. I would say off the cuff, but I don't want to answer without reading this whole thing. Yeah, I would say it was geared towards the volunteers, more or less, than the paid departments. But that's something we're going to end up dealing with one way or the other. Last thing I got. I told you I'd let you know when we got confirmation I did from Lee Stefanik's office that congressional funding has been approved. This alone will add $2,562,000 to the grant project. I've been working, and I think we covered some of this already tonight. I've been working with LaBerge Engineering to get the new projection cost estimate on its face. The bond would be reduced from the $575 that we previously talked about at the fire station that night down to $328 per resident user. That's at this time, and there's still other things that I got going on. Irons in the fire. There's a lot of cogs in this wheel that could reduce this even more. I am working through the bond and grant document paperwork and retention of contract for engineering services. I have also received a cost analysis, which Mr. Facto talked about, which was for the ad valorem rates versus the EDU rates. As things move forward, I will keep everyone updated. All board members have received booklets today that I gave you of all that information. So go over it, take a look at it, and we'll come back with your assessment on it, okay? That is that for me. Nothing on the agenda for unfinished new business unless somebody needs to bring something up. Alright, resolutions. Resolutions are going to be 23-18 through 23-29. First one is Resolution 2318. Motion by whereas the Association of Town annual meeting will be held on February 19th, 2020. Not February 19th. How come we got like
Through the
22nd? Okay. Of 2023 in New York City, and whereas the town board must name a voting delegate to represent the town of Schuyler Falls in voting during the annual business session, it is hereby resolved that the town board appoints Reginald Facto as delegate to cast the vote for the town pursuant to Section 6 of Article 3 of the Constitution and bylaws of said association. So he will be down there. He is the only sitting board member. So I asked him if he would do that for us. I'll make that motion because I asked him to do it.
Second.
And Mr. Bruno. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Abstain.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. And so approved. Alright, resolution 23-19, a motion by be resolved that the town of Schuyler Falls enters into an agreement with Eagles Nest Veterinarian Hospital for the year 2023 to harbor and treat all dangerous dogs seized in the town. Discussion. This is a requirement that is mandatory for all towns per New York State Agricultural and Markets Law. Eagles Nest requires a $500 retainer fee for this contract. All fees that will be charged for the services that will be provided by Eagles Nest Veterinarian Hospital are outlined in the attached contract. Their contract hasn't changed and our broker, we're up here, we're in at a toner. So she has
I have
copies, if
copies.
anybody wants to see it, it hasn't changed the same as last year.
If anybody wants to look at them, we had to use the court copy, they wouldn't staple and
So
sort.
does anybody
all
wanna take a look at it? It's
40
identical that we sign
pages
every
and
year.
stuff.
Alright, so can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Bruno,
Second.
Mr. Hamel. Roll call?
Mr. Hamel,
Yes.
Mr. Parati,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Facto.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. So approved. Resolution 23-20. A motion by be it resolved that the town of Schuyler Falls enter into an agreement with the Elmore SPCA in the amount of $3,300 for the calendar year of 2023. So again, these are all annual contracts that we've held for I don't know how long. So can I get a motion unless there's any? A motion?
Yes, motion.
Mr. Facto?
Second.
Mr. Parati, any discussion?
Is that the same price as last year?
Might have went up by
Yes.
here, was it? Yeah, so it is the same. Price. Okay, roll call?
Mr. Hamel.
Yes.
Mr. Parati,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yeah.
Mr. Facto.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yeah, okay. Alright, resolution 23-21. Motion by B, whereas the town board did provide in its 2023 budget an appropriation in the amount of $500 for life flight, be it resolved the town board, excuse me, the town board authorized the supervisor to sign the contract between the town of Schuyler Falls and North Country Life Flight Incorporated for the year 2023, and that's what we gave last year, right? So can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Parati,
Second.
and Mr. Hamel, any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hamel.
Yes.
Mr. Parati,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Facto.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yeah, it's okay. Alright, resolution 23-22. Motion by D, whereas the town board did provide in its 2023 budget an appropriation in the amount of $15,811.22 for JCEO services, be it resolved the town board authorizes the supervisor to sign the contract between the town of Schuyler Falls and JCEO for the year 2023. This did change a little bit. They did have an increase in their hourly wages that they were paying. The other thing that I asked for and I did receive was a contract for them, in their contract, what days they will be showing up, and if they don't show up, that they let us know that they're not going to show up. Okay? So those are a few extra things that I put in there.
So that may go down.
No, it's not gonna go down, because it's a contracted price for the year. But unfortunately, there's days where she has to go to mandatory training, or their employees have to go to mandatory training. We still pay a percentage of that salary. They pay some, we pay some.
Are we in discussion about this?
Well, as soon as I get a motion
Oh.
in a second.
I'll give you a motion.
Alright, so Mr. Hamel,
Second.
alright, Mr. Facto, and now we are, go ahead for discussion.
Okay, so when we originally set this up with JCO, by the way, it's a great program. A lot of people, in fact, more people.
Every day, or
Every
every
day.
Tuesday you use it, but every
It's
day.
huge, but every day there's people in here. I'm just concerned because it seems like they're not here. Donna, wasn't it originally,
Well, they changed their hours.
but then they just cut their hours again?
On Tuesday and Thursday, they're here.
Right. Then they didn't really cut their hours, they just changed the days. There were days where somebody called in sick and they couldn't get it covered and like, we didn't know, and I needed to know that so that we could post that at least on this door. That, hey, we apologize, contact JCO at this number, and the way that they say that you're still getting the service is that what they would do is then, it's my understanding, they would then send you to one of their, even if it's another town, they would send you over there to one of their other JCO people to still get your service that you needed on that day. They wouldn't have anybody here. And it hasn't happened a lot. I mean, most of the time they're here, but on the occasions that it did happen, that was when I get like, where are they? Because I got 3 or 4 people here, that wanted to see them. So I said, I just need a heads up so that and if you can let us know the day before, that'd be even better, but.
Yeah, I know the girls kind of take a little grief on that also. 99% of the time they're here.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that when they're not here, it is a problem because it's getting that busy. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
it's,
But they still
Really?
serve them. They just may have to go to Town Plattsburgh or, I know
Main
there's some in the
office down
city
there,
of Plattsburgh, I should say, yeah.
and then
And there's outreaches in Peru. They could go there. They can still go to JCO. They just won't have one here on that day. And that was one of the things she stressed was training. She goes, trainings, it's hard enough to schedule them and get them in there. So if it hits a day that they're supposed to be in your town, they are going to go to the training rather than be here. I said, well then, just let me know ahead of time so we can post it. In trainings, they should be able to let us know that several weeks ahead of time so we can say coming up on February 28th, whatever, JCO will not be here due to training schedule that day or something.
I know about a year ago, they were really short on staff.
Yep.
They went through a period there, but quite honestly, I like the setup, but if they're not gonna be here, I think we should be credited back. I mean, it is 15,800, but Sherm, when it was originally set up, there were set hours when we originally agreed to this. But now, and there's all kinds of reasons that come up with their training, I understand, but they are actually short-staffed, and they might close this one down. And I just think if there'd be a way that we could accrue credit in the event they couldn't be here for a week or so forth. Now, when they do arrive, what are their hours?
They're here 8:30 to 5 or 4:30. No, 4. I'm sorry. 8:30 to 4
4.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, that's all I have to say
So-
about it. So,
Well, wait a minute, because what you said,
Well-
well, not allow me to sign the contract, so there's no sense of passing a resolution to it. So if you want me to call them up and negotiate that they pay us back, or credit us for the hours that they're not gonna be here for training or for other reasons, whether they're sick or whatever, because I asked her that and she goes, no, this is your portion of annual services for the year. So if you want me to tell her we're not good with that, then it'll only go to discussion. Because we're actually, you're saying that you signed a contract with them for that amount. Did I lose you?
Yeah.
Did I lose you, or you good? You
Well-
understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
I mean, if you're okay with paying them this, and then if they're agreeable to give us some kind of credit, then we could go forward with this. But if you're telling me as a board member that you don't wanna do this unless they credit us back for the time they're not here, then this resolution is not written that way.
Kevin, could we, again, take a vote on this?
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with the price. If for some reason it seems like it's getting
Out of
more
hand.
and more out of hand, more and more times nobody's covering our town and people are having to go other places, then I think at that point, it would be agreeable that either you or,
Contact them and say, hey, we're not happy with the service.
yeah,
Or the people aren't really happy
Yeah,
with the
just-
service, cause they're the ones that will complain when they're not here.
Right.
Okay.
I agree with you, Reg, on
Yeah.
this. I mean, if it
And
gets
I
out of hand.
mentioned that to
If
her,
it gets
and
out of
that's what,
hand,
that's what she told me.
That'd be fine.
We pay a portion of their salaries. They pay a portion, we pay a portion, that's how they determine it. And they had a salary increase, just like everybody else, I think it was 3%, wasn't it?
More than
Was it 4%?
5.
I gotta start working for JCU.
You know, they have other
right.
benefits too that.
But yeah, as far as what they've been doing here, I can remember when I first started this and she was trying to give us the food to get rid of it. You don't have that problem now, do you, Donna?
No, we do not.
The people are out there in that parking lot waiting when they know that truck's gonna be here on Tuesday. So people are hurting, people need the service.
Heath and she's got other.
Yeah,
And we've been trying to get this going, JCO, and thank God this board
for 20
is
years,
approving to
according
it
to
for.
what I was
yes,
told by Sherm, so
yes.
that's why I push so hard for it, but, and I appreciate the board backing us on it, and, I will say this, and like I said, the more the word got out, the more people utilize it. And they're very respectful of the privacy.
Yeah.
So, if you're good with that, are you good with that?
Yes, I am.
Alright, so I guess we'll do a roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. And I will make that point. Alright, resolution 23-23. Motion by whereas in accordance with the water supply agreement between the town of Plattsburgh and the town of Schuyler Falls Woods Mills Water District, the town of Plattsburgh sent a letter to notify the town that the annual metered water rate for the 2023 calendar year will be raised to $3.77 per thousand, and whereas the town of Schuyler Falls needs to raise the water rate charge to the customers in that district to reflect the increase, be it therefore resolved that the new water rates for the district will be $39.60 for the first 7,000 gallons and $4.15 a thousand for any over the initial charge. For it's every thousand. $4.15 for every thousand over. Okay. If I didn't read that right. So can I get a motion?
Motion.
A motion by Mr. Ferrari,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Hamel. Discussion, the water rate is 10% over the cost of what the town of Plattsburgh is charging the town. And that's what we've been doing for years and years. That way we have money in the unallocated account for that water district for water breaks or any of the other things that may happen. So if there's no further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes, motion was approved. And another one, there's a few of them. Alright, resolution 23-24, a motion by whereas in accordance with the water supply agreement between the town of Plattsburgh and the town of Schuyler Falls Macy Lane Water District, the town of Plattsburgh notified the town that the annual meter water rate for the 2023 calendar year will be raised to $3.77 per thousand gallons, and whereas the town of Schuyler Falls needs to raise the water rate charge to the customers in that district to reflect the increase, be it therefore resolved that the new water rates for the district will be $45.08 for the first 0 to 7,000 gallons, and $4.52 a thousand for anything over the initial charge. Again, that represents the 4508 is 15% over the town's charge. The 452 rate is the 20% over the cost of what the town of Plattsburgh is charging this district. So basically, that's one of the newer systems. They charge 10%. We charge 7% for maintenance, and again, their inflation rate was at 15% this year. Not ours, theirs.
So why is this so different than the first one?
Woods Mills was set up prior. Like Morrisonville was the earliest water district, and our water person could probably tell us better. But Morrisonville pays whatever town of Plattsburgh pays. Woods Mills pays 10% over that. Water rate was what, $3.77 they said for Woods Mills. I remember right.
You got a paper underneath here.
Yeah. This takes us like, I'm telling you,
A day.
a day to work on this. Her and I do it with Valerie. That's why I told Mr. Cashman I probably owe him some of her salary, or him some of her salary. So it was a pretty good hike, but basically what Val told me this year for the town of Plattsburgh at that 15%, it's because they spent all that money on redoing those water towers up there. And they figure out what it costs them to pay their bills and what they want in their accounts, and then we always put 10% on top of it because we have to have money in their special districts in case water mains break. So unfortunately, they're not all charged at the same rate. If I can explain it any better than that, but that's the way it is.
They charge more for Macy Lane for some reason.
That's what I was asking.
That was a newer one. Yeah, the newer ones they charge more.
Plattsburgh does.
Yep, it was in their contract. Like when they set up Mason Lane Water District, it was in their contract. They would go 10% over automatically. Town of Plattsburgh, then we had to do 10% on top of that, so we have money in their account. So.
A quarter of these people pay the minimum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, the
yeah.
minimum,
The minimum is a 45 a week. But it,
as opposed to the Morrisville Water District paying $65 a quarter.
it's still lower than what we do. So, anyways, can I get a motion?
Motion?
Mr. Bruno
Second.
and Mr. Parati. Any further discussion? If not, then roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. That is fourth water rate since I've been in office in 3 years.
Increase.
Increase, yeah.
But they charge their customers the same price.
As Morrisville, yeah.
Right, the same, per gallon.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha.
Just
It's-
that they've got less, charges because they've got, what did they tell us they had, how
Well,
many users?
They're they have more users of the water. So they might have 5,000 people in their water district. So when you distribute that down, the O&M costs and all that other stuff gets reduced so much because it's split by so many people. Or we're looking at, like Mason Lane, what, 53 or
47.
56, 47 people in that. I mean, that's where the increase. That's why I like to see you to start consolidating some of these water systems so that you get more bang, more people, rather than them all going on their own. But it's got to be conducive to the other district too, depending on what they have out for bonds or loans or whatever. All right, next one, resolution 2325. Motion by be it resolved that the town of Schuyler Falls approves the purchase of a John Deere 624P tier loader, wheel loader, on state contract price with an extended warranty for 6 months for a total price of $238,040.
60 months.
60 months.
60.
60 months, thank you. The extended warranty for 60 months, for a total price of $238,047.69. So, Mike was gracious enough to give me a not so marked up copy. Anybody want to take a look at this before you vote on it? You're more welcome.
It's the same thing like you had at the last.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just an update.
Yeah.
This is the old one.
I think the only one that don't have
Everything
one-
basically the same. Just
Yeah, it's the same exact pricing. It just gives you a little bit cleaner copy.
Are we in discussion right now?
Well, we gotta make a motion and have a second, then we can
Okay.
go into discussion. Well, I just wanted to make sure everybody had a copy before they decide to make a motion on it. And then we can go into discussion. Let me know when you're ready and we'll go from there.
Well, I'll make the motion, but I'd really like to know about the extended warranty before I make that motion.
Well, then, that's why this is here. The extended warranty is right there.
Right, but I'm
So basically, it's $3,193.60 for the extended warranty.
so what's the warranty on it right now? So it's brand new, right?
It's gonna be brand new.
So you get 1 year, 2 year, 3 year?
Well, I'm not sure we've always bought the extended warranties, the highway supers before me.
Right,
I would guess-
I'm just saying, if you got a
It-
1-year warranty that comes with it, or a 2-year, if you're gonna have a problem, you're gonna know usually within the first year.
My God, not necessarily, not necessarily.
And if,
Sometimes it takes these things, 3, 4, 5 years, and then,
if I'm
then,
not
then right
mis-
after usually the extended the warranties are up, then you really have the problems.
How long
That's
is
why
the
it would be
extended for?
60 months,
5 years, it'd be 5 years.
60
But-
months.
or there's some, I gotta find it, because I read it earlier, now I'm having trouble finding it, or so many hours, correct?
Right.
2100,
It's there,
sticks in my mind,
It's-
2100, but maybe, I'm trying to find it right now,
it's,
where I read that.
That was a good point, Sharon. Oh,
The extended warranty, Kevin, are you looking for that?
Yeah,
It tells you that it's,
it's extended warranty, but it had hours on there.
yeah,
Yes,
two
one or the other.
2,500.
2,500, thank you.
What is the regular warranty, was the question. That was Sharon's question.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is the
I
regular
agree with
warranty?
you.
A year, 2
I'm
years,
looking.
3 years, 10 years?
You can hardly drive into a shop with these things for less than $3,000.
You're not going there. Not the price they're getting. You bring that into John Deere, you can get it, it's over 3,000 just getting it to their door.
I would say 1 year at the most, but the way these machines are, they're built today, it'd be crazy not to extend, have the extended warranty. I mean, we've used on the trucks before me, I mean, since I've took over, I've used warranties on the ones that the gentleman before me purchased on the trucks and stuff. Cause I dug into that, and things happen, to them.
Nothing in there.
Mike, let me ask you this. If we purchased it and within the year, we then decided to put the extended warranty on
Very
it,
good question.
would that be any kind of a issue at all?
It can be, because some of
I
these,
think it could be, yes.
like, I don't care if you, they only give you so many days, like, even if you buy a brand new car and you're gonna put an extended warranty on it, they give you so many days to put that extended warranty. You can still get them, but the price of the extended warranty goes up at that point.
See,
Is that in there, Kevin?
I just
Any
looked
chance?
through the whole damn thing, looking to
See,
see.
Reg, this is where I had mentioned that Jesse was more than welcome to come. He said he'd come in a heartbeat.
Sure.
So you could question him, immensely.
The
but-
salesman, for sure.
Correct.
For sure.
'Cause I don't
I'm
want
not
to
against it,
give
I
any
just wanna
correct
make sure we're
answer.
getting a good deal for it.
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't know a lot about heavy equipment, trucks.
It's
Yeah.
it's massive.
Well, the extended
It's
warranty, it
massive.
says covers the powertrain, any hydraulics, 2,500 total hours and 60 total months. 0 deductible too. You don't pay a dime for any of the maintenance. So, it does not say in here what the manufacturer's warranty is on this.
No.
I looked through the whole thing.
Mike, would you expect within the first year, you wouldn't have any idea how many hours maybe would be on
Oh
it?
my gosh.
Would you,
Obviously I'm gonna want to use it as much as I can, but I want to let it set idle too, leave
Sure.
it there.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be, it's all the new upgraded quick connect system, for attachments. So,
Yeah.
if we cannot, I wanna use it, cause I wanna make sure something's gonna happen, it'll happen quickly to it. You see what I'm
Yeah,
getting
it
at?
just, like, if I'm just reading his extended warranty here, like I said, the only thing it says here is by John Deere. If declined, I fully understand that any equipment listed above is not covered for customer expense due to component failures beyond their original basic warranty provided by John Deere, but it still say whether
Well, you
that's
know-
a year or 2 years.
Alright, you know what, if we could, let's vote on it. if everybody decides they wanna get the extended warranty, but if you could get back to us maybe even by the next meeting, so we have it on record of what the original warranty is and how, does the extended warranty kick in after a year or 2 years? Just so we can have it on record, so down the road, if 6 years down the road, they say, well, no, it's only covered for 5 years, because you did 60 months. Well, wait a minute, we already had a year.
Yeah, I
to
see what you're
5
getting, so if it's already a year, so it should be, sure, it should be 6 years.
Should be
Right.
6-year warranty,
Yeah,
Right,
or whatever.
60
your-
months.
Whatever your
60
starting
months,
point
5
is, if it's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, plus 5 years.
Right,
Yeah.
That's what we want. Is
Okay.
it
Yep.
plus 5 years, or is it 5 years max from
Yeah.
purchase?
and, as far as that goes, I can wait, hold off on signing off on, cause we gotta do a voucher, they need a PO order, so when they do the PO order, purchase order, just have them right on there. This John Deere equipment comes with a 1-year warranty, and then the extended warranty starts for the,
Cause you're more or less looking for the 1 year that it actually comes with.
Well, we
if
just
it's
wanna
1 year
make-
or more,
If you
whatever it
purchase the
is.
5, so
Whatever.
that'll give you
I
6 years.
just picked that out of a hat, it could be
Yeah.
a 2-year warranty, I don't know what they
It
did.
could be.
But we're getting an extended 60-month warranty on top of what the manufacturer's warranty is. So it could work out to be 7 years of warranty that you'll have if you're buying the extra 5 years, right?
Correct.
I don't know what
I
the
mean-
warranty is. It
Alright.
just says whatever John Deere is.
I'm
And
sure
so
you-
if we're good with that, we
Yeah.
don't have to, there's no obligation to write the check, you know what I mean? Okay. Before we did all that discussion, who the hell motioned this?
Sherm made a motion, no one, you didn't have anyone second.
No, I think we did have a second.
Yeah, I thought we
Did you?
did too.
Didn't
I don't have one.
Alright.
down.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Oh, you know what, you're right, we didn't have a second.
Okay, I guess we're the roll call, unless there is any further discussion. Okay.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
And Mr. Randall?
Yes. So, that'll basically, we put 200,000 extra in yours this year for this. You'll have about 58,000 left in your large equipment fund for the year, just so you keep in your figures in your mind, okay? And that was in the unallocated fund, so we don't have to bond any of it, it's just paid for. Money that was in the unallocated fund. Resolution 23-26. Motion by, whereas the town board declares to enter into a labor management agreement between the town of Scholar Falls and Teamsters Local 687 that will be in effect until December 31st of 2023 to ratify the hiring of Lloyd Provost Jr. effective date of hiring January 25th of 2023 as a MEO at the rate of $23.55 in lieu of the wage rate of $22.55 that is stated in the union contract. Be it therefore resolved that January 1st of 2024, Lloyd Provost Jr. will then follow the pay rate set forth in the approved union contract effective January 1st of 2023 through December 31st of 2025. Again, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Bruno,
Second.
Mr. Facto. Under discussion, I did put in there that the agreement is not precedent setting and does not open up any part of the new contract to further negotiation.
On that, Kevin? What about the gentleman that we just hired here a short time ago? Is he equal to this?
He's next.
Oh, it's the next one of those, okay,
He's next.
alright.
Thank you, Bill.
I just wanna make sure
No,
we're not
I hear
gonna
you.
pay
Yeah,
him
that you're
short
not
and then
opening
the
up
next
a-
guy more.
Yep, that you're not opening up a can of worms. Yep. So yeah, it'll be, you get the same dollar.
And everybody was okay with this, the union and all, right?
I have, and it is in their files, I have, good question, Michael. I have talked to Mickey Smith and I talked to David Amell and I've spoken with Mike. He knows I spent about 3 days getting this done. And Mickey Smith was good with it. David talked to the guys, and at the end of the whole conversation, yes, David Amell and I had David Amell sign the labor management agreement, and then I scanned it and emailed it to Mickey Smith, who also signed it. So that's ironclad. And that's what I wanted to make sure, is that we weren't opening up. We just started the brand new contract. I didn't want to open up the contract to all those articles opening it. So it came from them, not from us.
Now,
They opened it.
Is this gonna, let's say next year, we have 2 people leave, retire, whatever.
Mhm.
Is this gonna make us start paying everybody $23.55?
No.
Or can we go back to the $22.55?
No, that's where you see, where I just read that, under discussion, this agreement is not precedent setting.
Okay.
So it's on a case-by-case basis,
Mhm.
and, like I said, Mike knows, for God's sakes, we've been trying to hire somebody up there for over 6 months. He's
Yeah.
been over a year and some change now without a full staff up there. And unfortunately, with wages and everything today, nobody, even these salaries, one of these guys is taking a cut. I mean, it helps to be in the state retirement system and the benefits. One of them didn't even need that because his wife has good benefits. So
And for what
it's
worth,
tough. It's tough to hire.
and
for
for what
that
it's
kind of
worth,
money
for what
for
I have to
what
say
they're doing.
about it, you know, it's more of an incentive to get somebody here, you know, just like any other establishment, you know.
If we were putting it in the paper and we were getting 15 applications, I'd say, well,
It'd be a different story.
but you're not.
So,
And then, several applications that Mike and I worked on either couldn't get through civil service,
yeah.
or they didn't pass their medical fitness test. So, it's been a struggle. He has. So, I don't know if there's any other questions. If not, roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. That motion is approved. And this is the one that we were looking for. Boom. Resolution 23 -27. Motion by whereas the town board desires to enter in a labor management agreement between the town of Schuyler Falls and Teamsters Local 687 that will be in effect until December 31st of 2023 to ratify the increase in the rate of pay for Sean LaPlante to $23.74 an hour, and be it resolved that January 1st of 2024, Sean LaPlante will then follow the pay rate set forth in the approved union contract effective January 1st of 2023 through December 31st of 2025. Again, this is make sure this was not precedent setting, and it doesn't open up any negotiations of any articles of contract. And I do have a labor management agreement on that one also.
Move.
Okay, then Mr. Facto,
Second.
Mr. Hamel. There's no other discussion, roll call?
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Alright. Resolution 23-28. A motion by be it resolved that the checklist of Judge Van Ortwick and Judge Barber has been reviewed and acknowledged. So if I get a motion.
Motion. Second.
That's first and second, so we'll give it to Mr. Bruno and Mr. Parati first. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. So approved. Resolution 23-29. Oh, maybe the last one. Motion by be it resolved that the records of the following. I want to make sure I didn't screw up again because I did that enough tonight. All right, that's all right. She just lined that first one out. She wrote it in there twice. All right. That the records of the following town officials. How does that sound? Who receive or disperse any money of the town will be accepted and approved as presented. And that would be the supervisor secretary to the supervisor. Or can I get a motion?
Motion?
By Mr. Hamel,
Second.
by Mr. Parati. Year end for, 2022 is now complete, that's why we're doing this. Alright, roll call.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yeah, the motion is carried. Alright, that brings us to claims. Okay, the claims, they're under these, audit numbers, excuse me, audit only is 202300015 through 202300030. Claim numbers, 202300031 through 20203, excuse me, 230144. Payroll claims, 202300002 through 202300014. First one, general fund, $92,259.81. Highway, $73,384.56. Audit only, $4,118.43. Fire districts, $564,286.93. Woods Mills Water, $3,331.94. Morrisonville Water, $5,798.48. Macy Lane Water, $563.89. Ambulance District 1, $121,364.40. And that is that. So can I get a motion to pay?
Motion.
And Mr. Bruno
Second?
and Mr. Facto. Any
I
discussion?
apologize, cause I don't.
No, that's alright.
The fire district, ambulance district, is that that's for the whole year?
Yes.
That's the taxes, it's both them checks.
And that's all the fire districts.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all three.
Yeah, like Morrisonville was 200 and something thousand. I think South Placer was about the
Okay.
same, 200 and something thousand, and Caterville was 100 and something, and then Morrisonville EMS, and that's two contracts too. That's Morrisonville EMS plus the hospital.
Oh.
Because like Morrisonville Fire District uses Morrisonville EMS, but South Plattsburgh Fire Department uses CDPH. So we have two EMS.
And the rest of these would be like monthly or
No,
6 months?
that's what they get for the whole year. That's what our portion is.
Okay, but I mean like, say Woods Mills Water, is that for?
Quarterly,
Month.
right?
It's the month, it's their bills.
Oh, what you took in for the
No,
district.
No, it's a
or the-
claim.
this is for the bills that Mary pays out.
Right,
Okay,
from,
so the water districts are by the month. The audit only is for the month.
Everything's for the month except for the
Except
fire
for those
districts and the
districts, yeah.
ambulance.
Okay, alright, okay, that's all I needed.
Those are paid by tax money, taxpayers.
Alright,
is that it? I guess we're ready for a roll call.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Alright, that concludes that. Public forum. Yes, sir.
Two quick things. One is, thought I heard on the radio the other day that the flag was to be at half mast for,
Mass shooting?
yep.
I missed it if they did, and that's my flag guy.
You know what?
Federal, it said federal, we see in the news, just federal, I don't know if
Just
it means,
federal?
well, that's what it
Well,
said in the
no.
news.
I thought it said.
You can't do it all, can you?
Okay?
If you want it at half mast, I'll put it down before
I
I go
just
home.
wanna make sure we don't
No,
get
I don't know,
complaints about it.
I
so.
thought, like Donna said, it was like a federal.
At the White House, it said. We talked about that,
Okay.
but we don't know for
Usually,
sure.
I'm not 100%.
Usually the state follows the federal, it's a federal ask to do it.
Usually you get something on your phone.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah, I
gonna
didn't
say.
get anything, and it did say that the flags will be flown at the White House at half-staff due to the mass shooting.
We can, well, let's check and see if it's just a White House thing or if they asked all of them. Huh?
I think New York and New Hampshire did any of these.
Did they?
I think so.
Yeah. That's why I say the states usually follow the feds if they do something like that.
I normally get I have an app that normally tells me, and I didn't get anything, so. But, so if it's not right, it isn't one of our faults.
Ah, but it's
How many days
it's
is that
something we
for?
can fix.
I don't know.
No, we'll have to get, we'll have to.
Thanks for
get
bringing that up, though,
clarification.
Howard, but you know what, anytime that you see something with that, you can, seems you're down here pretty often now, just let us know. I do have a key for it.
Me too, please.
Yeah, and we got the key in Mary's office, cause I did it before, or put it back up after it's done. So, I didn't realize they had did that on this side. I am watching the news in 2 months, and that's not what. Right.
The other thing quickly is just food for thought. You may wanna think about with, Sam, is possibly putting him on as the part-time, grounds person through the winter for plowing, because when he does plowing, that should be maybe a liability problem there, cause he's recreation, right?
No, cause he's still covered under the town insurance,
Is he covered?
you know, and, he's salary. He kinda takes that upon himself. If you wanna add something, add me, cause I'm the one that does all the extra, and don't get paid extra for it. But no, I'm not opposed to giving him a part of that salary, because we've both been filling in that position since we lost Danny Goslin, and that's been almost a year. And that's another job I can't fill. It's been on the website, it's been in the paper several times. We're looking at probably going to a third-party hiring firm now to see if we can get somebody to do that. And maybe I'll just take it. Doing it anyways.
Says yes on the flags.
Okay,
Yes?
we'll take care. Does it say for how many days, Michael?
Usually it's 10.
Well, we'll put it down, and then we'll figure out when we gotta put it back up.
I'm checking what Mike's reading right now.
Get your key on you? I gotta get the one around.
I do.
Alright, anything else? Anybody else? Yes.
Concerning the loader,
No,
You
Larry,
take a
you're not
regular-
borrowing it.
huh?
I'm just messing with you, go
No,
ahead.
that's okay. But when you take a regular car to a gas station, that's $100 an hour. What is it for heavy equipment? It's gotta be. At least another
Depending on whether you go to Charlie Barge
You-
or Champlain Pete.
You eat up that 3,000 pretty quick.
Oh, you could, yeah, they're a couple $100 an hour.
But the other question is, on the extended warranty, it said was capped at a certain number of hours.
Correct, 2,500.
So the question you might wanna put to John Deere is, at the end of your original warranty, are they gonna note down the hours on the machine, and then you only?
No, cause I'm gonna guess that their extended warranty reads that way for a reason. This many months, or just like a car, instead of miles, it's hours, this many hours.
Yeah, but it seems like the extended should be on top of the hours put on during the
Yeah.
initial.
Yeah,
It wouldn't hurt to ask.
No, we could ask, but just like if you buy a car, it's gonna be this many months or this many miles, only with hours on a machine, you don't get miles on them, you get hours, so they're gonna say hours. But yeah, it's a good question, we can ask. Mike, you got that on your list? I just volunteered you to ask that.
Yeah, I had an extended one on a washer at Lowe's, and that was one of the deals there, is like you say, when the thing crapped out, it's, oh, your warranty's up, but wait a minute, that's an extended warranty, that was supposed to be on top of the original.
Right.
And we had quite an argument about that.
Yeah,
It
that-
could be, it'd be a lot
That's
more
a good-
expensive to be wrong on this one.
Right, that's a good question that Sherman brought up, is what the original warranty is, and then is it 5 years plus, or does it just go out to 60 months with you?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just like me, like you say, you buy a washer, you know, you got a year warranty on it.
Oh, so it's not-
So you buy the
yeah, I think
extended
it
warranty
is like-
on it, and it seems like it deletes the 1 year that you bought.
I made him
So we
write
got
it in, when we
2
bought it,
more
new
months.
one, I made him write it in specifically
Yeah.
with the extended.
2 days.
After he can't at the end of the
That's it.
manufacturer one.
What do you think?
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
it is
year or
24.
hours
I was
approximately?
thinking, so
you know,
yesterday on the
Because I
24th.
mean, if it's idling down in the sand
This week
pit,
is
it's
gonna buy
running that
hours,
hour
so-
meter.
So fast. It's
Are you
crazy.
gonna-
It's not a whole lot, you'll be amazed.
Yeah.
Just so I don't miss anybody, is there,
Huh?
How many hours on that 624J?
My God, I don't know, I'd have to look in our, you
How
know,
long have you had that load?
that's a 96.
What problems have you had with that?
Not a whole lot,
You looking to buy it?
you know what I mean?
Electrical, any electrical?
We've had a couple things where it wouldn't start, you know, it would be working good, and the next thing you know, next morning you go in and it wouldn't even start, it wouldn't move.
What dealer are you
There's a
dealing
way
with?
around it. They're doing
Huh?
What dealer are you dealing with?
Out of Governor, the only, the closest one out of
North
Governor. Huh?
Nortrack?
It's John Deere,
it's, United Construction in Forest Grove.
United.
Okay. 'cause that's the same one
1486
here.
US Highway, Governor.
Well, yeah, but they
It's
don't.
the same company, you just, they don't hire, or they don't carry logging or bigger equipment here.
Right, and even the parts, like I've learned since I've taken over, I used to call them for the parts. For the John Deere tractor, you know, the road, that we mow the roadside with. And now I've learned, I don't even bother with them anymore, I go right to
No,
the bigger company.
you could do it.
Because they're gonna, what I found out is they get it
I
from
could do it
Governor,
now,
and
just
send it
approve
to
it.
here.
Right.
Yeah, if they
They
have
wanna
it,
charge us the freight and everything,
I'll do
then
it for
then it comes up.
they won't
to
send
us.
it, if they have it in Governor, they won't order it, they'll send it from Governor to here and then
Yeah.
play the game.
So I learned that pretty quick, I said, what the hell, why do this? You know, so I'll just call.
Well, Governor is the most local John Deere dealer. Now,
Now it is.
Yeah, you got Clifton, you got Clifton Park down there.
You got over in Burlington too.
Yeah,
Perhaps somebody put them over, I don't know.
yeah, well,
United-
Ricky, you made me right there. You make me right
yeah, I mean,
now. Not
I'm
even
gonna
more.
go wherever I can as quick as possible.
I was just wondering what dealer, the closest dealer, because you have a problem, they're charged from the time they leave.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that's what I'm gonna,
Here,
you
back.
wanna cut them off. Okay, so is there, anyone else could, just wanna make sure we get everybody in here.
I have a few more webpage questions.
Okay,
Did anybody on the board ask for if the webmaster graduated any accredited universities or completed any kind of
Okay, so
training for
do me a favor.
I'm sorry.
Can you do me a favor and write them down?
Yeah.
Cause that'll save me writing all this stuff down. And then I will try to get you the answers that you deserve. How does that sound?
Oh, this one's pretty short. It's just, did anybody on the board check any graduation from an accredited university? Like if I'm entering into a conversation with somebody to do business, I'll let them know that, I've started.
I'll tell you verbally, he told me he had several different schools.
Did he graduate from any accredited university, or you don't know that off the top of your head?
When he addressed us,
I can't,
Kevin, when he addressed us that day, I think Mr. Factor was with us in the courtroom. He told us all his credentials. and
yeah, I know,
where
he
went
did that to
school.
me, but I can't
and
tell you,
everything. I
you
don't
know,
either.
I haven't
If
seen
we
his
can write it
diplomas.
down.
Okay, so I can't
Well, to
answer
be
that.
fair, I didn't know how to check on a business, so I Googled it and it said, 3 steps to take to check on a business is look at their website, check and see if they have a physical storefront, and then check on the state site for licensing. So I did that for North Shore Solutions, and it was licensed at the state level that I got onto their webpage. And their website is
North Shore,
obviously-
which is the other one we're looking at, you mean?
yeah, and obviously it has an impressive webpage. I didn't know how to check the physical location because it's not local. I could have Googled it, but I got 2 out of 3 with just 10 minutes of stuff. Did anybody check and see if Northeastern Computers is licensed anywhere? If it has a storefront, and did you look at the webpage? Because the webpage is not functional that I could find.
well, I do know, Mike, that I did check and he did work for Clinton County Historical Society.
He also
He
worked for
did?
the state of New York.
Now,
Oh, he did? Okay. I mean, that I know.
Did you call them, or did you look and there's a little?
Did I call?
Yeah, or is there a little thing on the
There was you're right, there was
Yeah,
a
that
memo
was-
on the bottom.
That's not verification, yeah. In other words, there's a tiny little thing on the bottom of the webpage that isn't a municipal webpage. So, you know, when you say that you checked that you work for Clinton County, how did you check?
But
It's a legitimate question, I think. You said you checked for, that he worked at Clinton County, for Clinton County, in what capacity?
he drew up the Clinton County Historical Association, their webpage. He designed it, his name was on it, and I didn't take it any further than that.
You
Mike.
said he worked for Clinton County, though.
No, I said Clinton County Historical Society. That's what I said. And he had a webpage and his name was on it. His company name, Northeastern Computer.
And they introduced somebody named Rachel, and I think they said they were either an intern or a recently graduated intern, which when I did my internships in college, you had the delightful experience of paying the college money to work for free. If she's doing work for free or at a greatly reduced rate, is the town still gonna be billed at the rate which we're paying their webmaster, what is that rate? Is that,
Right now, we're paying them nothing.
no, I know, but what's the hourly rate? I did put in a FOIL for the contract, so I will be throwing those numbers around. If you remember the number off the top of your head, do you know how much we're paying them an hour for web design?
Is it $1,500 for the year? Somewhere around there.
Isn't there an hourly rate?
$100 per hour, billed in 15-minute increments.
That's for extra work done.
Extra work.
We paid a contract to him for the whole year. Don't quote me. It was relatively inexpensive compared to the other websites that we're looking at. I'm not saying that his work hasn't left something to be desired until recently. And I made that comment to you and to him that if we'd have been getting what we're getting here in the last 3 weeks over the last year, I don't think anybody in this room would have even had a complaint about the website or.
I'm more than willing to come in and help you get an overview on it, and I'll send you some stuff to everybody, but I believe what you're paying for is $75 a month for hosting, which you get for free. In other words, it's a complete markup from, you can get free hosting, full retail for hosting a municipal webpage by like $15 a month. That's $75 a month, which translates to $900 or $1,000 a year, is just a markup from what you can go online and register for hosting yourself. So that's not the $100 an hour. My other question is, when I'm here, we're gonna come in and take pictures of people or take pictures outside to make content, are you paying him at the $100 an hour rate
So would you
to do that?
like to put in a bid to do the website?
If, I think the bid
Is that
should be
because?
put open if.
But ultimately, I mean, I could pick apart any service that the town has and say that, like, I want to know this, and I could probably do it cheaper, or
Well, what I'm
hammer them.
suggesting-
So
No, what I'm
if you're
suggesting-
if you're saying that, then throw us out a contract, and it's something that we can look at with the rest of the other 3 that we got, and we can go from there. Because for us to have that dialogue in here, I don't think it's fair to him, and I don't think it's fair to the board, because we
Well,
don't
that's
have
why I
that
brought it up
information.
while he was here, but I will get it back to you in writing, but what I'm getting at is, some people were balking at North Shore Solutions, which is, a company that has dozens of amazing web pages up, being like $4,000. When you start at a base of 1,000 or 1,500 and then start adding $100 an hour on, a couple hours a week for training, for taking pictures, for uploading things, you could very quickly be paying more for a single individual than you would for an entire, company where you can have 6 or 10 people.
Right. I understand your concerns, and he hasn't did that. I can tell you that we haven't had really any upcharges throughout the whole year. of what he's did.
Right, we haven't had a webpage, I'm saying if in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we get 10 hours, 20 hours of billable hours, you're right up there where, you know, you're paying as much or more as you would if you hired on North Shore.
Well,
And if that gets that
maybe,
way-
maybe not, because I don't know what the up costs are for North Shore to come in here and sit down and do training, or to take photos, or to put that stuff on. It's different if we do it and send it to them, and I don't, even then, I would have to read their whole contract, because it's been 3 months ago now, like I said, that we looked at it. But, again, I don't think it's fair to try to answer those questions
I
without
just want you
having,
guys to know that
I'd rather
it's-
have you write them down, because you're specific with your wording even.
It's
And that way I can give you a specific answer back,
It's a lot easier than you think.
or try to.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than you think to upload the stuff yourself. It just
Yeah.
comes up in a template and, you know, you
Yeah.
enter the words in those.
And the host, I understand, is like the whole, that's our key way into the porthole, that's where all information flows through.
Well, yeah, it's also important to the people that don't have cars, the people that are homebound, you know.
But
things
ours
that-
isn't like a normal one, because we have a server, so it's not accessible only through my understanding, is our server and through its administrators, because we just ran into that where Windows 11 got pushed out to everybody, but it didn't hit ours because we have our own server. It's not like a personal computer that doesn't have that ability to stay separate off the line.
No, I appreciate that you're becoming more aware of how important.
I'm
a
trying,
page
but
is.
I am a few generations off.
Yeah, no, it's just that, you know, like,
Yeah.
people that have cars don't think about, like,
Right.
what if they don't have access
Yeah.
to come down here?
No, we've had that conversation on whether or not to do away with those servers, in the back for that reason, because that isolates ours from the normal internet. It gives us a second, almost like a second firewall. It gives us a whole
Protects
firewall,
us.
actually. It protects it.
One of our computers get
It can't, it's gotta go through that server.
compromised.
And the server's locked down pretty good. Now, I will say that Carl did a good job when he did our IT down here. He had it locked down pretty tight.
Last week, we were without computers for a day,
Yep.
almost, everybody here, and it was just a mess.
Yeah, so like I said, just make sure you write them down, so
Yeah, no, I just thought-
I can try to get you what you.
No, I just thought
I
it's
can.
time sensitive to get it out here now because of the contracts coming up at the end. Even if somebody is able to bring it up to
Right.
date, it doesn't mean that moving forward, it's a good idea to continue with that if you don't have a company, you know, a full company behind you. And you don't have the resources to do that, so something where, you know, you can amicably, have him help transition to another thing perhaps is, you know, one solution.
I appreciate your concern, and I appreciate your questions, but like I said, I just I don't have your answers for you right here in front of me.
That's all I have for.
But I can try to get them for you.
Sure, it looks like the 26th.
Yep, that's what you just found out.
Sunset on.
You guys are right on it. That's when the flag comes back down, the 26th, goes back up, excuse me. Well, I'm having a problem with my ups and downs and lefts and rights tonight. Alright, if there's nothing else, then I'd say, somebody wanna call for
Motion to
adjournment?
adjourn.
You got next meeting?
Yep, I will
Next
read
on
that
that sheet.
right now. So, it was you and who?
Vern.
Alright, so our next meeting will be, a regular scheduled meeting, will be on February 28th, 2023, it's Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Work sessions, if needed, will be Monday, February 6th, 2023, and because of the holiday, Tuesday, 2/21 of 2023, if needed. That's a Tuesday night because of the holiday. There's that President's Day, isn't there? So, other than that,
Reggie, you're gonna be gone.
anything, we're all set.
Reggie will be gone.
No, I'll be back.
No, you won't be back for that.
No, I'll be back.
Oh, no, you're not gonna be back for that, I already heard it.
Are you coming back on Tuesday? You can't, you gotta be there on Wednesday morning.
No, I'm just taking it.
Are you going?
Yeah, you'll be down in training, I'm telling you, you won't be back yet. You'll be stuck in that damn meeting, so,
Yep.
as a delegate.
That's on Wednesday too.
Wednesday
My
morning.
meeting's on Wednesday.
Can I get another night?
No,
Yeah, if you got
We'll
it.
have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
No, we'll pay him.
But Sunday,
For what?
Monday, Tuesday.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
We're gonna try.
Yeah.
Your meeting is on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Pick up
Right.
the plane.
Wednesday morning,
Yeah.
then you,
Okay, no,
I'm going
three's
from
enough,
Dusser again.
three's enough.
Sunday,
down there.
Monday, Tuesday.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stopped
Yeah,
this.
cause what, you had it like
Round
at
trip
8
with
o'clock in the morning.
priority and everything else is about 100